That takes us over to the X Division, starting with the X Division Championship match, which is Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels. On the first Impact of the month, Samoa Joe faces a debuting Jay Lethal.
In a sweet match.
I love this match. I find this match so funny.
Yeah.
Because if you watch any of Joe's other TV squashes, he eats these people alive.
Yeah.
Like, he does not give them, like, watch, like, the Red match or the Delirious match or anybody else he just destroys on TV. He absolutely kills them. They might get, like, the smallest hint of a hope spot that he shuts down immediately and he wins in 2 minutes. Versus this match, where he is wrestling his friend, Jay Lethal.
Yeah, and I like that they gave it an out, though.
Mm.
Saying that, like, he was real banged up from the match at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, like, they gave it a reason, which I appreciate, but, like, it's so blatant.
Samoa Joe would like his friend to have a job.
Yeah.
So he sells way more than you ever would for Jay Lethal. Like, he bumps for a leg sweep, he bumps for an arm drag, he bumps for a leg lariat. He gets, like, for Jay Lethal in Lethal's TV debut as a complete nobody.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
But it works.
It does work. He is ultimately signed to a deal. So it is very charming that Joe gave him this and helped him get a deal. It's nice to see Joe do that for his boy, even if his boy is Jay Lethal.
No, we have some good years of Jay Lethal.
Joe wins with the Muscle Buster and the Coquina Clutch. December 24th, Impact, Christopher Daniels faces Eric Young.
They sure do.
Yeah, this was a match that was a little weird. They were, like, on different pages.
You would think these two would be, like, in sync.
NSYNC?
Yeah, you think they'd be in sync.
Dance routine.
In the new Trolls movie.
Why is that movie?
Because they've reached a point with that franchise that now it has become we can slap the branding and make any old shite. It's like Despicable Me, but a tenth of the success.
And then you'll check and it made like $800 million.
I'm gonna check it right now. I'm only comparing it like... that was not me digging on the Trolls. It was more me digging on how much money Despicable Me makes.
It does make a lot of money. It is a very successful franchise.
Apparently the second Trolls movie was also musical themed. So, Anna Kendrick is the main troll.
What a sentence.
Made $347 million on a $125 million budget.
So they're doing okay.
Which I would imagine went mostly to the cast.
And the music licensing, probably.
And the second one, Trolls Band Together. No, Trolls World Tour. Trolls Bound Together is... I was going to say, Anna Kendrick isn't even in this one, but she is. Fucking dogged it. The second one did not do well.
The second one was like a COVID release, though, wasn't it? It was VOD as well as theaters.
Yes.
It was...
limited number of theaters.
And I actually think it was one of those that was like one of the original big streaming hits in COVID because it was a Trolls movie and kids were desperate for anything.
Yeah. And Kelly Clarkson was there.
Since You've Been Gone, etc.
Yep.
That was Kelly Clarkson, wasn't it?
Yeah. That wasn't Kelly Clarkson. That was the song. Did they even have that in this? Kelly Clarkson was like, listen, I'm in the movie, but you're not getting my big track without some money.
Yeah.
You can sing Born to Die.
Ah, that's my favorite Kelly Clarkson song.
Yeah.
So before this Daniels EY match, Daniels does do a promo. He's returned tonight. He has Joe at Final Resolution. He's like, I will shatter Joe's aura of invincibility. So Daniels returned, if you remember, a turning point after the match. He ran off Joe, but then one headbutt caused his brain to go, woo.
He goes, woo.
Yeah, so Shannon Moore is here.
Unfortunately.
Both this and there's a match we'll talk about. We're talking about one of the other X Division things, but on the show prior as well. Shannon Moore is standing atop the stage with a sign that says the X Division needs to get punked.
Ashton Kutcher?
No, he's the Prince of Punk.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes.
So, yeah.
Isn't he cancelled now?
Is he? What did he do?
I think he's just like a weird celebrity guy.
Good weird celebrity guy or bad weird celebrity guy?
I remember what he was cancelled for. All of the Mila Kunis' 16 in these clips things. And him being like an abject pervert to her in interviews and such.
Cool.
Yeah. And then he married her.
So yeah, Shannon Moore's around. Don Harris shows up and he's like, can you get down?
And he's like, no. If the punk thing would have been for him to dive.
Yeah, he should have dived on Don Harris. Take him out.
He doesn't even have the book of Dillygaff, so I don't give a fuck.
Got him. Eric Young goes for a moonsault, but Daniels just launches him off the top rope instead, which is a real cool spot. Like, he still kind of does a moonsault, but Daniels just literally flips him over.
Yeah.
Daniels hits the BME, but D'Amore distracts the referee. Then Daniels just wins with the Angel's Wings. Like, they went to a replay of the BME, so it feels like there was an edit there for something. Like, it was a weird finish in that, like, why not just beat him with the BME if you're just going to hit the Angel's Wings straight after? But I'd say they cut something out there when they went to the replay.
Release the uncut version.
Release the full Daniels-Eric Young match.
We deserve it.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Samoa Joe on the December 31st Impact wrestles Roderick Strong.
That's fun. It's a fun little combination.
There's a feature before this match on Joe, which is just like a 50-second him kicking ass feature. It's like, God, he's so cool.
He's also a great him kicking ass feature guy.
Yeah, because he kicks so much ass.
The towel is so disgusting.
Yeah, and they change it to a fresh towel because he does a promo. We'll talk about that in a second. But like the towel has now turned to like such a gross color.
Brown.
It is like a brown now, and it's like, ugh, we should not be doing this.
It's gross. It's so yucky.
Moore is once again being shouted at by Don Harris, and we also have another reoccurring theme this month, which is Dave Hebner at the top of the stage taking some notes.
And like, when this first happened, I thought the bit was going to be that Dave Hebner is like judging the referee's performances, because the first time he does it is during like a time when a referee is being distracted, but then it's not that at all. So now I'm just confused.
Yeah, TNA does inform us here that TNA has hired Dave Hebner as a consultant, and I don't think it goes anywhere after that. They're just like, let's just have Dave Hebner there, I guess.
He just keeps showing up like week after week. My favorite thing was in week 1 where he's like, that's one of the Hebners.
Oh, but yeah, the crowd starts chanting, "You screwed Brett" at him because they think he's Earl.
The greatest tweeter of all time.
I wouldn't say that personally.
Why?
I would not personally co-sign the thoughts of Earl Hebner.
Oh no, let me go search some Earl Hebner tweets.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Please read some of the content you have co-signed.
I never co-signed it.
You said he is the best tweeter of all time.
I never said I agreed with the words of one Earl Hebner.
That is a full and hearty endorsement of Earl Hebner's tweets, which you will now read.
You are a sick bitch. I pay more taxes than you make a year, you loser.
Why is he fighting with people?
I will sell you some, but cash only if you have it. I might throw in a Hebner show if you good luck.
He's selling people too many things.
On my way to Euphoria for Hermie Sadler's main event 2014, Sadler versus Jarrett. See? Nothing's bad yet.
It's the TNA dream match you've always wanted.
You smell like a rat.
What does a rat smell like?
Like a rat?
If you were in a 5x5...
Yeah, with a rat?
With Earl Hebner.
Easy. Also easy.
Wait, you... Okay, now we have to go back into this. You would be afraid of a spider, but not a rat.
I wouldn't enjoy the rat. But I would feel my confident in my ability to punt it in the head.
But you could punt the scorpion too!
No! It'll sting me. What's your girl's lover's name? Go fuck yourself.
That's an unusual name, but...
She is great. Would you like to try me out?
No one should tweet. No one should ever tweet. Why do we have it?
A lot of it is just him telling people to go fuck themselves. I am not aces and eights. I am just the most honest ref in the ring. That's why I am in main event.
I did appreciate that Earl Hebner had that bit for years where he would wait for the crowd to chant "You screwed Brett" at him, and then he would reveal his undershirt that said "Damn right I did."
Oh, okay. I thought that was creepier than it was. It was not. I haven't found anything negative here. Just him telling people to go fuck themselves.
Joe and Strong.
Okay, you keep talking. I'm gonna keep reading the El Hebner tweet.
Pretty good match.
Don't give BJ 2 sluts. Your mum should get a pimp and make so money for her big lips. She looks like an anteater.
Going in on these people. Good lord. It's a bit rude. Strong gets a big backbreaker in, which is cool to hit on Joe because he's humongous. But Joe wins with the Muscle Buster and the Coquina Clutch, and the Muscle Buster is the Morphoplex move of the night.
Yeah. I got your forehead swinging CD's nuts, sucker. He's a lot of people seem to tell him that he makes more money, he pays more taxes than they make money. Keep talking. I will come up with good shit when I come up with it.
I'm just looking for the next Joe note. One sec. So the January 7th Impact franchise has Samoa Joe. Now, Samoa Joe has not cut many promos in TNA. He's barely said a word. He gave out to Franchise once, but that's all he has spoken. As Joe initially doesn't respond, Shane is like, fine, I won't go to an interview with you. And Joe stops him, and Joe cuts his first proper promo in TNA, where he talks about how there is a thin line between bravery and stupidity, and Daniels has crossed that line. He has now replaced the old, gross, horrible towel with a fresh towel for all of Daniels' blood that he will draw at Final Resolution. Franchise then
At the Hebner. I have the hottest chicks, hottest lips than any ref in the world. I guess I am a knockout myself for TNA knockouts. Who can be me? Number one.
It's not even a coherent thought.
There is no structure to any of these tweets.
All the sentences are disconnected.
They're also not spelt correct in any way.
It is like a man who had 7 different thoughts during a day, wrote them all down into a single tweet as the day went on, and then just hit send at the end of the day.
I am the greatest of all times. You fans are jealous of me. None of you can be me. So get a life and move on with yours. Brian H., you too.
Wow. Calling out his son.
I know. I gotta start snipping these so I can post them.
Franchise pushes his luck and asks Joe a follow-up about Sting. He's like, ooh, now you're talking. Let me ask you about Sting. And Joe just walks away.
Joe looks mad that he brought it up.
It's like, how dare you ask me about a second thing? I gave you a promo. I actually talked to you. And you dare follow up? Mm-hmm. How dare you? Franchise. Ooh, franchise.
What?
What have you found now?
So, at Rude Girl
tweeted.
At Madison Rain, before you snogged the Hebner, I actually thought you had a crush on Garrett TNA XOX.
Not me.
I assume not you.
No.
To which he replied with, you must be a lesbian, go fuck yourself. What the fuck?
Oh, because there was that story they did where Madison Rain was flirting with Earl Hebner to try and get favorable decisions in her favor.
Big night at TNA. I know Brian Hebner wishes he could be me. Not a chance. Go fuck yourself.
Seems like a real healthy father-son relationship developing here.
It has to be a bit.
I'd imagine it is. I would hope it is.
You'll never be me. Go fuck yourself.
Go home episode of Impact. Samoa Joe faced Cassidy Riley.
I'm sorry, Garrett. There's too many.
Stop reading his tweets. Close the tab.
Happy birthday at Jeff Jarrett TNA. Looks like we both are kissing beautiful women on your birthdays. Go fuck yourself.
All right, I'm going to need you to close the Earl Hebner tweet tab.
Let me find one more.
No.
Let me end it on a high note.
We've already ended on a high note. He told Jeff Jarrett to go fuck himself.
Your mama an asshole.
Just
that was not added at anyone.
Succinct. That's just for the general reader.
Sorry, your mama an assho.
Oh, that does change the context.
But it's one word. I'm gonna just tweet that one, I reckon. Alright, I'm done. I'm closing it.
Joe Cassidy Riley.
Yeah, what about it?
I would say that Joe ate Cassidy Riley up more than he ate Lethal up, but Riley got a bigger deer fall on Joe than nearly anybody in TNA history. So Daniels is on commentary. AJ chases Shannon Moore around ringside. Joe ignored Moore but dropped AJ, which is like one of those things I love. It's like Moore could run away, but fuck you, AJ.
He's like, I don't care about Moore, but I still dislike you.
AJ then hits Joe with a Pele, and Cassidy Riley gets like an actual near fall off of that. He like pins him and he kicks out, which I actually quite liked. Joe then fired up, kicked the living shit out of Cassidy Riley. Musclebuster cooking a clutch for the win. Joe looked to Musclebuster Cassidy Riley on a chair, but Daniels makes the save. Daniels then hit Joe with the chair as Joe bails. Setting up at the pay-per-view, Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels for the X Division Championship. Earlier in the show, the franchise had Daniels, and the franchise addresses the elephant in the room, the story of this match, basically, that Daniels has come back from his concussion too soon. Daniels points out that Joe has never beaten him, and Daniels said he's not afraid to shed blood for what he believes in, and Daniels parses the difference between unbeaten and unbeatable, and says Joe will be beaten tonight. So that's basically like the story of the match, that they develop as Daniels fires up and tries to win the X Division title, and every time Joe just goes after his head and Daniels falls apart.
See, this match, I liked what I remember of it, but then my appendix started exploding. So I don't remember the last half of it because of the searing pain in my stomach.
So just like Chris Daniels, you came in all fired up, but then your appendix started bursting and tearing you down.
Yeah, pretty much. I came back too soon, much like Chris Daniels.
There was a bunch of like little touches, like Joe does the thing where he does the chop to the back, the kick to the like shoulder, and hits the ropes and drops a knee, like one of those classic like little Joe sequences. Whereas here he does chop the back, kick to the shoulder, and when he goes to drop the head, the knee on the head, Daniels completely covers up to protect his head, and it's one of those like small little touches. It's like obviously the story of the match is Daniels might still have concussion or still have the lingering effects of a concussion, so he's trying to avoid every and all damage to his head as possible. Daniels goes to powerbomb Joe out of the corner, but Joe reverses it into a Rana and then falls with a lariat because he's fucking awesome. Daniels hits the BME, but Joe kicks out. Daniels hits a slingshot elbow over the ropes to the floor, where he lands like
right on his fucking hip.
Yeah, hip first, and I think he misses the mat as well and hits like the concrete part of the floor. It's like, oh, that sucks.
I remember relating heavily to that.
Just pain.
of my side dying.
Joe hits a boot as Daniels is coming through the ropes, and then does the rail face wash out on the floor, which busts Daniels open, and then we settle into like the actual story of this match as Joe relentlessly goes after Daniels' head. So Styles comes out to ringside, he has a towel in hand, he's watching on, he's cheering on Daniels. Daniels fires up, goes for the Angel's Wings, but crumbles. Joe then keeps hitting him in the head, muscle busters him, but Daniels squirms the ropes before Joe can lock into Coquina Clutch. Joe drops Daniels with a muscle buster on a chair. TNA does at least try to justify the use of the chair in that setting, being like, oh, the referee is intimidated by Joe. But listen, Rhino and Abyss were hitting each other with chairs earlier, so I guess it's just legal in this company.
Yeah, it's the opposite of New Japan, where the outside
is pure wrestling.
Is pretty much, yeah. In TNA, the inside is where you're allowed to use weapons.
Joe then kicks Daniels in the head a bunch and starts wailing on Daniels with knees to the head, and he does like these big wind up for them, and he's looking at AJ as he throws each and every one. As AJ picks the towel up, picks Joe's towel up, and he's like, should I throw it in? Should I throw it in? He's conflicted before he eventually throws the towel in on Daniels' behalf, and then Joe collects the blood of Daniels and leaves, and he's like, fuck yeah, I did it.
What gives AJ Styles the authority?
Well, we'll talk about it when we talk about AJ stuff, but there was some tag team stuff this month. They did come closer together. They were in a 6-man tag, and then they faced AMW in a tag. So they did at least set up the idea that obviously these two are long-term rivals, and even when Joe took out Daniels in the first place, AJ came out to check on Daniels. So they have at least set the seeds that there is like their long-term rivalry.
Yeah, but I want his legal precedence.
Do you want to see his manager's license?
Where is his manager's license?
To see his right to throw in a towel on Daniel's behalf?
Exactly.
And I'm sure that will be a little development you will see in February with Daniels being like, what the hell, man?
What the hell? I had him.
Yeah.
Had him right where I wanted him.
I wasn't beat, dude. TNA does reinforce after the match, as Daniels is being checked and tended to, that he's a father of two, and AJ made the right call to protect Daniels' long-term career.
Says him.
So, like, I didn't love this as, like, a match. I think they have a much better match in April, these two. Maybe the best match of Christopher Daniels' career. But I did, like, appreciate the story, and I think they told the story they wanted to tell really well, with Joe, once again, being an unstoppable monster. Like, you could talk about the chair spot, the muscle buster on the chair, which I understand why they did it, because that's the spot that he gave him the concussion with in the first place, back after the Elimination X match at Genesis. But I don't think they needed that spot, just because Joe's knees to the head looked so gnarly by themselves that, like, oh, his head is in great trauma here. You didn't need the chair spot, because Joe could just be a monster.
And, like, it's more intimidating that a guy is just doing this with his body.
He's just fucking you up. He doesn't need a chair.
Yeah, like it's more brutal, like in a street fighting sense, where you're just like watching a man get his head kicked in.
But yeah, I did appreciate the story of this match being that, like, at the start Daniels had a fire and he could go for it, but the second Joe hit him in the head, it was fucking over. Like, Daniels was just done, and the match increasingly got away from Daniels to the point that AJ had to submit on his behalf. I thought they did that story really well, and it's one of those where, like, you would be tempted to be like, you can't kick Daniels' ass that much, you know? He's a baby face, you can't have him destroyed like that, but, like, it fits the story. It's like he came back too fast, he took this match too fast, Joe is a killer, and Joe killed him. Yeah. And we will follow on from here. And I think I talked about this last month, but it's like the idea that, like, the X Division didn't have stories, just because they're not doing 15-minute promos in the ring, it's like they don't have stories. It's like they've had this now 3-month story with Daniels and Styles, and the building relationship relationship between Daniels and Styles, but now the tension I imagine will emerge from this between Daniels and Styles because Daniels wouldn't have wanted to submit. Like, and then Joe is the monster that they're both trying to topple. That's like a really compelling story, but no, there's good wrestling there, so there can't possibly be a story.
Wow, 2023.
I know.
My God, people have never understood how stories actually work in wrestling, did they?
But like, for real though, like it's always so reductive. Like, if it's not the WWE vision of what storytelling in wrestling is, which, as I said, is the 15-minute Raw opening promo. It's lots of talking. It's not like actual nuanced, compelling story and characterization. If you don't do it the way WWE has done it for the last 20 years, people just pretend it doesn't count. Like, people pretend like the Continental Classic was just wrestling, when you would have to be a fucking clown.
See what that one person said? Where they're like, if you're gonna respond, like, and tell me that this tournament had all these stories, why don't you tell me what they are? Then some guy responded with like 12.
Yeah, there's Bryan Danielson's eye, there's Daniel Garcia trying to earn his one win, there's like the little BCC tension with them being both in the same block, there's Swerve trying to prove he's on the top level of the top stars, there's Eddie Kingston putting his belts on the line and coming from a
Briscoe
slow
adjusting
start.
to be a singles wrestler, Jay Lethal learning how to be has been relying on outside interference to win his matches for the past year and is now failing when put in there by himself.
And it's like, no, because, again, there was no stand in the ring for 15 minutes and talk to each other about what the story is. There's no story.
And it's like, even if you want, like, promos expanding beyond that, they had them.
Yeah, loads of them.
And they were great.
They were fucking awesome.
They were, like, the best talking I've seen all year.
But nope, you didn't do them in a ring for 15 minutes. It does not count. Like, that's what it comes down to. That is literally what it comes down to. If it's not two people standing in a ring talking to each other for longer than 10 minutes, it does not count. It's so fucking stupid.
It's really annoying.